Hey everyone, in today's video, I want to talk about the importance of taking risks in order to achieve success in life. I know there's a lot of content out there that talks about this, like how you should always go big or go home, or if you're not taking risks, you're not living, you're just surviving. But while I appreciate the sentiments that's behind these proverbs, I think a lot of content creators misunderstood the real relationship between risk and success. And in an attempt to encourage their audience to take more risk in life, they end up nudging them to be more reckless. Now, don't get me wrong, I believe taking risk is absolutely crucial if you want to succeed in life. Only certain kinds of risk will help you do this, and others will have devastating consequences on your life. So this is what I want to do in today's video. I want to help change your attitude towards risk taking and help you understand when and where it's appropriate to take risks. I'll start by talking about the importance of taking risk in life and how it leads to success. Then I'll talk about some scientific studies that actually demonstrate the role that risk-taking plays in leading you to success. I'll talk about the kinds of situations where you could consider taking more risks and the kinds of situations where you're better off exercising caution. And I'll also talk about the right mindset you need to develop as you move towards a life where you take more risks frequently. But before we do any of that, let's start by considering the definition of risk. If you Google the word up, you'll probably come across the definition of risk: a situation involving exposure to danger. And although this is a really good definition, I feel like the true scope of its meaning is not immediately obvious. When you hear the phrase exposure to danger, you're probably thinking about some life-threatening activities like skydiving, hiking, bungee jumping, or water rafting. You might also be thinking of other not so threatening situations like quitting your job, starting your own business, or taking a leap of faith and investing in stocks, Bitcoin, NFTs. And you would be right. These are situations that expose you to potential harm, and so they are obviously risky to an extent. But there are other more mundane situations where this definition applies as well. For example, in school, when you raise your hand to answer your teacher's questions in class, you risk saying something silly and getting laughed at by your classmates. When you crack a joke during a conversation with friends, you risk saying something lame and sharing an awkward moment. When you build up the courage to ask your crush out, you risk getting rejected and having your feelings hurt. All of these examples and more show that risk is a part of our daily life, and not just something we face only when we put up against extreme situations. And it's really important for you to keep this in mind for the rest of our discussion, because when I say taking risk is important, I'm not just talking about taking risks when it comes to making a big decision. I'm also, in fact, especially talking about taking risks when it comes to minor decisions. Now that we have our definition straight, let's look at how taking risk in life can set you up for success. I have 6 arguments for this. Let's start with the first one. Taking risks leads to growth. One of the best things you can get out of exposing yourself to risky situations is personal growth. How exactly is risk related to personal growth? Well, if you think back at the definition of risk we discussed earlier, you'll remember that taking a risk means putting yourself in a situation where you're exposed to danger. This means that no risk situations are situations where you're in no danger. So, in other words, your comfort zone. Since comfort zones don't threaten you in any way, they don't prompt you to make any changes in your life, which brings your growth to a halt. This means that if you want to grow in life, you need to start taking risks, because that will push you out of your comfort zone and put you in situations where you're faced with a challenge. Ultimately, this is what's going to facilitate your personal growth, and that in turn will help you become more successful in life. Number 2, taking risks leads to opportunities. This one is kind of related to the first one, but not exactly. You see, when you start taking risks more often, you will inevitably end up exposing yourself to a more diverse set of environments. For example, you might sign up for dancing lessons, swimming lessons, karate, anything new to you. And it won't matter how well or how poorly you do in these situations. Just by the sheer fact that you're present there, you'll get to learn new things, meet new people, and hence be exposed to more opportunities which will help you leapfrog towards success. Taking risks causes you to fail more, and that is a great thing. You probably already know that failure is inevitable on the path to success. There's a lot of content out there that talks about this, and I couldn't agree with the idea more. I think this quote by the author J.K. Rowling phrases the idea beautifully as well. It goes a little like this: it is impossible to live without failing at something unless you live so cautiously that you might as well not have lived at all, in which case you fail by default. This is one piece of advice I give to every single one of my friends, and I wish more people lived by it. When you try new things, you're going to risk fail. And more likely than not, you're going to fail several times before you start to see any signs of success. When you try driving for the first time, you'll fail. When you try cooking for the first time, you'll fail. When you try public speaking for the first time, you'll fail. And these failures won't be in vain. Far from it. They'll actually propel you towards success. With each failure, you're going to get a solid reality check. And these reality checks will be important in helping you become more self-aware of your shortcomings. Once you know which areas you have to work on, you can start working to improve them and shoot upward towards success. So this brings us to number 4. The more you risk, the more you win. Now, you've probably heard this one before, and I know it's cliche, but I think it's cliche for a good reason, which is it has a lot of truth behind it. I'll try to explain this one through an example. As you know, starting a business often involves taking risks like investing a ton of money, quitting your safe 8-to-4 job, and putting in long hours of work with no guarantees to success. If the business idea is well planned and executed, the potential rewards can be extremely substantial, including things like financial success, personal fulfillment, and the creation of a legacy. Think of Elon Musk, the founder of SpaceX and Tesla. Elon took a significant risk by investing a large sum of his own money into all of his ventures, and he had no guarantee for success. Yet here he is today, standing among the richest people on the planet. Take a moment to think about what would have happened if Elon didn't take any risk. If he half-assed his ventures and invested, let's say, half the initial capital he would have initially put into his ventures, do you think he would be where he is today? Here's your answer. I want to put out a word of caution here though. When I say taking bigger risks leads to bigger rewards, don't take it to mean that this applies every time. If you take huge risks without being calculated about it, you're going to end up suffering some devastating consequences in life. For example, quitting your day job to pursue starting your own business makes sense if you have things like a concrete business plan, access to the required resources, and the resources to survive any unexpected turbulence in the process. However, it doesn't make sense if you're living paycheck to paycheck, don't have any concrete business plan, and if you don't have access to the required resources. If you did this, you'd be doing something risky for sure, but it won't be the good kind of risk. It would simply be reckless. Dealing with risky situations gives you confidence. This is one of the most crucial benefits you can get out of putting yourself in risky situations. Think about it. All risky situations come with some form of challenge, and with that challenge comes the opportunity to overcome it. And when you overcome these challenges, your self-confidence receives a boost, and it's easier to trust your abilities. This boost of confidence can go a long way in helping you become successful in life. Countless studies have investigated the relationship between confidence and success, and have found confidence and self-efficacy to be crucial predictors of individual success. This is an incredibly important reason why you should try to expose yourself to more risky situations. Risk eliminates regret. You've probably heard of Mark Twain's famous saying, 20 years from now, you will be more disappointed by the things that you didn't do than by the ones you did do. Don't take this lightly. The regret of not living your life is arguably one of the worst feelings in the world. You actually don't even have to wait 20 years to know what I'm talking about. Just take a moment now and think of the way you've lived your life so far. Would you rather undo the things that make you cringe, or would you go back and grab the opportunities you've missed? I don't know about you, but my answer is definitely the latter. And if you feel the same way, then you need to start taking more risk in life. Grab every opportunity that comes your way and make the most out of your time. Because if you don't, you'll end up regretting it big time. So there we are. These are the 6 main ways taking risks sets you up for success in life. But so far, we've only discussed this matter through arguments. Now, let's take a look at what the research has to say about the connection of risk-taking behaviors to success. There are 3 studies I want to show you here, each relating to a different aspect of life. The first is research conducted in March of 2020. The aim of this research was to investigate whether taking bold or risky actions has a positive impact on people's careers or a negative one. I won't get into the details of the procedure, but the researchers ended up finding that risk-taking positively impacts workplace outcomes for employees. A similar result was found in a study conducted in 2019 that wanted to investigate whether academically risky behavior has any relationship with students' performance in Turkish lessons. As you probably guessed, the research found a strong positive correlation between the two variables, providing once again that taking risks leads to success. These findings are consistent when you trace the connection backwards as well. Many studies have investigated the key traits of several successful entrepreneurs, and one of the traits they find consistent among all such individuals is a tolerance for ambiguity, or comfort with uncertainty, which of course is just another way of saying comfort with taking risks. Now, before I end this video, I want to issue a word of warning. Don't go ahead taking risks without thinking, especially in a situation where there's a lot at stake, because you could just end up losing everything and setting yourself back in life. For relatively less riskier situations like raising your hand in class to speak or approaching people to make new friends, I'd say it's alright if you put a little thought into it. In fact, in those situations, it's probably best to not let yourself think too much. You simply end up overthinking and talking yourself completely out of the risk. In situations where the risk is huge, it's important to not let emotions get a hold of you. You want to sit back, relax, and carefully evaluate the situation with an open mind. Be real with yourself and consider all potential outcomes of your decision, as well as the likelihood of your outcomes. It is also good to ask your friends, family, for their input in the decision. And if possible, you should also ask someone who you don't know that well, so you'll get a relatively unbiased opinion. Evaluate the likeness of your success in the situation and assess whether you'll be able to bounce back if you fail. If your answers keep prompting you to take the risk, take a few days and let the decision marinate in your head, and then go ahead and take the leap of faith. However, if things point the other way, don't feel pressured into taking the risk anyway. Bravery and stupidity are not the same. Finally, make sure you're ready to embrace failure in case things go south. In most cases, if you have the right attitude, you can turn your failure into pivotal growth moments and propel yourself towards success. That's pretty much all I want to leave you with today. Thank you so much for watching this far, and if you've liked what I've shared with you today, consider subscribing to my channel and hitting the notifications bell to see more videos just like this. See you in the next one.